Welcome to Deeper Into the Dark.
We're two friends.
Descend into true crime.
The paranormal.
And all things strange.
Hi guys.
Hey.
What's poppin'?
Pop, lock, and drop it.
Like these chunklers.
Oh my gosh, I'm not wearing any.
What are you wearing? Is that Timmy from Fairly Odd Parents? Woo! Flip you over. I lifted her leg up with mine, and she would.
Oh no, my legs are still sore from pickleball.
yeah, pickle balls. Dirty bitch. Just kidding. Hi guys, welcome back to Deeper Into the Dark. This is episode 2
of season 2. We got a 2 for today.
A 2 for the fire boofer. Whatever that means.
I don't know that. Well, yeah.
What's a boofer?
I was thinking like you were just saying buffer wrong.
Oh.
But fancy.
That's our new word for the pod, guys. We're gonna boof
Boofer.
you.
Boofer.
You're a boofer. We're gonna boof. Welcome back. How have you guys been?
Pause for answer.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm waiting.
Hi
guys.
We're doing something new today.
Oh,
we talked about it yesterday.
Guys. We're gonna be doing something new, but before we get into that, how have you been?
Doing okay. Still sore.
Let me push this back real quick. You're a bit schmidgy.
I know. I'm loud. I was in theater, so I project.
She knows how to get her voice from there to over there. She says, "Hello,
hello.
How have you been?"
And
I was a dick sucker, so I know how to hold it in. So. What? I mean, it's a. Don't hate me for my talent.
It's okay. It's your pride.
That's all I got going, guys. Don't ask me to do anything else. They ain't gonna work.
But yeah, just sore. Working. Nothing. I wish. Don't give the Steph's giving the eyebrows right now for our listeners and not our.
You can't see it from the Botox. I wish I could afford Botox.
No, right?
Bitch, I need a lift here on my split.
I need my eyes. I even bought eye cream today because if y'all don't know me, I'm a tummy sleeper or side sleeper. So I'm on this side of my face a lot, and it tends to crush my face in, and I'm starting to get a line right here.
You know what you need? Shape tape. Or not shape tape. It's the stuff it's like these patches you put on your face. And you wear them at night. You can put them right here. I want to get some, but you know me. I always talk myself out of buying shit from the internet.
Oh.
I'm always like, it's in my cart. Then I'm like, do I really need it though? It's I'll show you.
I'll buy it and then we'll try it and then we'll give our honest opinion.
And it's supposed to keep the creases that we do from sleeping or like wiping and stuff. Is supposed to help those creases go back to your natural form, so you don't get early onset wrinkles.
I'm just like
supposedly as
trying
TikTok
to be
says.
as perfect as you with this flawless skin of yours. I'm over here getting wrinkles.
I have a razor burn right here. I have a pimple under this ear right here. It's
not the one.
I have some acne up here. Did you know that the little white bumps you get that aren't like that are always persistent in there? That's hormonal acne.
Can it go anywhere?
I think so.
Maybe that's what I keep getting right here on my lip. Because it's white.
Maybe your hormones might be off balance, but also, like you said, you're a side sleeper. And that crease line, too.
Well, I also, I'm on the IUD now. And it's pumping in that.
She's on the UD.
It's pumping in some hormones.
It's going. And her pussy's like. And her body's like. Just like that.
I'm just glad so far I've had a normal cycle.
She's not gushing like gallons of blood anymore.
Yeah.
You should have seen her. You shouldn't have seen it. You should have seen what she was going through. I'm sure anybody who's gone through this sort of thing, or any woman, let's just say, has met a moment of this regard. But Christina was consistently like this. She'd only get like 2 to 3 days a day off.
Not even. After a while, I was completely bleeding all the time until I got my IUD. The first time it worked for like a week, and then it started bleeding again. I had to get that out because it was put in wrong. It was attached to my cervix on the side. It was very weird. I don't know how she did that, but then I got another one, and so far it's been good. Shout out to that OBGYN. I got my shit together.
Whoop,
Appreciate
whoop,
you.
whoop. I feel like an old person because only old people do this. Because they raise the roof.
You know, I do it still sometimes. I'll go like this, or I'm like, yee!
Yeah.
Out of excitement.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
let's keep it going.
Yeah. Let's keep it. Let's keep the tradition going.
Yeah. Raise the roof.
Raise the roofs.
What about you?
I've been all right. I already want to quit my job. I've only been there for.
I mean, that's not
What's
new.
new? What's new, you guys?
I was saying that's not new.
But yeah, catching up on bills, doing all that monotonous. I need a new word. I'm tired of using the word monotonous. Sorry, guys, if y'all tired of hearing that from the pod. If y'all have listened to it before. That's about it. Nothing brand. You didn't tell the listeners on the first episode. We went to a flea market and we were perusing some stuff for the pod, and we got some weird vibes. And we brought some stuff home that we bought, and continue the story.
So that night, wasn't it? I kept hearing my name being called. And at first it was a woman's voice I'd never heard, and then it was Stefan's. And y'all weren't even here? No.
We were asleep.
You were asleep. And I asked him the next day, I was like, hey, were you trying to get my attention? Because I was too afraid to go outside my door. And he usually come in, and he was like, no, I was asleep. Because this was like 3 in the morning. And he was like, no, I was asleep. And I was like, you were outside my door calling my name and telling me to open my door. It was very creepy. I didn't do it. And he was like, are you sure you weren't sleeping? I was like, no, bitch, I was wide awake. And I couldn't go back to sleep after that. I just sat there staring at my door. And I was like, get away.
And didn't you say your baby was watching the door too?
Yeah.
She was like...
Yeah, Raven and I were just staring at the door the whole time. We're just like, what the hell?
And Christina just got that vibe of, I probably should not open that door.
Yeah. I rarely get that. And I was like, no. And plus I'm used to you just opening my door.
I do a certain thing. I'll do a specific knock. Mm-hmm. And then I'll be like, Christina. And I slowly peek my door. I'm not like... I'm like, hey, yo, you up? No, I'm just kidding. How to do that. I'm very sweet. I'm a kind roommate sometimes. Kind of a bitch in the morning. But yeah, that was some ooky spooky shit. And when I was telling her the next day when she was out, I was like, well, remember, we did get that weird vibe when we were in the back of that one flea market room. We were perusing the stuff, and then it hit me in the gut. Like, I felt like...
And then I went next to him, and I was like, whoa. And he was like, you feel that too? I was like, yeah, I feel sick. We need to get out of this space.
Yeah, we slowly crept away, and we were watching all the objects, trying to pinpoint where it was coming from, like, the vibe. And Christina's like, I'm getting it from this area. And I'm like, I'm getting it from this area. And I'm like, so it was just weird. But I guess we brought something home, but I guess it went away.
But we did see some weird racist artifacts there.
Oh, yeah. You know, when racism was an art style? Yeah, you see that all the time in these podunk towns. Yeah, we saw that for sure.
Yeah, and I was like, I bet it's that. But we got it at the same spot that we got
some stuff.
And I think it's attached to that, personally.
I think it could have been brought, or maybe it just attached to us, because, let's be honest, Christina likes to touch shit.
I do. I know I shouldn't do it.
And she finger bangs everything. She's like, I'm getting a weird vibe from this. This
right here?
And I'm like...
Or he's like, don't pick up that doll. I don't even finish yet. And I'm like, wow, look at this. And he's like, I fucking hate you.
I'm like, I swear, Christina, you are trying to kill us.
But for the rest of the day, I was like doing this. And he'd be like, no.
So yeah, we brought home something, and I guess the kids nowadays on TikTok are calling it a mimic.
Maybe.
Call it a mimic because it was mimicking my voice.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, I've seen videos of people like, why do I hear me calling me from my restroom?
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, my mom just left and I'm hearing her in the hallway and she's calling my name. What do I do, you guys?
Yeah, I've seen those videos. They're creepy.
So yeah, And I've heard from other pods, people's listener stories call in, and they're like, yeah, they're like, when I was a child, I used to hear my voice in the living room when I was like sleep in the living room, and I'd hear it from a room next to the living room. I'd hear my voice being called at like night, and I'm like, or yeah, I'd hear my mom calling my voice at night, but my mom was clearly upstairs, asleep with my dad, and it's just, I don't know.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, guys, we had something in here, but it went away, I guess, because we haven't had anything since in that regard. Only winter spirit coming through here, maybe.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Every now and then I feel like I'm being watched, but that could just be because I want to be watched. I don't know. It's usually when I'm undressing.
ABF, always be filming. That's who's watching your OnlyFans. Oh, right, you guys. So this season, like we said on our first episode, we're actually going to be switching up the little pod situation for a few episodes. Christina's going to be taking over paranormal, supernatural, ooky spooky, creatures, the strange. She's going to be doing a few stories like that. We don't know for how many episodes. We
We're just
originally
playing
did
it
have a
here.
number, but we're not going to be set on that because we might be like, okay, I need to go back. And I'm going to be taking over true crime for a little bit too. So,
I'm excited.
and so yeah, I guess we should get started.
Yeah.
You ready? I'm going first since Christina went first in the last episode. This is what we do, you guys. If y'all are listening, we switch off. She'll start or I'll start. So whoever started last, the person that goes second goes first the next episode.
And I started first last episode because the first season you started first, and I thought it'd been nice if second season I started first.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So yeah, let's get started. Hopefully Eleanor doesn't rip me a new one for butchering true crime.
We'll see.
Love you, Eleanor. So this story originally I was gonna do for our side thing that we were gonna have for our Patreon, but since it was so good and I want to get it out of the way, I was like, I'll just go ahead and bring it over since it's right fresh on my mind, and it might be a little short for you guys compared to most true crime stories that I would do or Christina might do, but let's get into it. I'm gonna cite my sources first. My sources come from murderpedia.org, historicmysteries.com, and alton.gov.uk.
Oh, is this in the United Kingdom?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Well, oh, I'm sorry, you guys. There.
Gotta show the cheeked up.
Cheeked up Myers. Fuck yeah. Let's go. So, originally I was actually inspired, like I literally was thinking about it, which caused me to look this up specifically. I was inspired by your story of Lorena Bobbitt.
Oh, okay.
From season 1, episode...
Ooh, 17? No.
It was like one of the later ones. Like 30, 40 something? Shit, I feel kind of... Well, anyways, we'll put it on the screen in some text if we must. But yeah, I was inspired about that episode when more specifically, the term from your coworker said when you were telling them about how you were covering it. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh my god, we used to use it in the 90s around school. We're gonna bob at your ass.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so fascinating how teens have like a slang word or like a saying that they say around school. Kind of like, how the kids nowadays are like, what's something they say, skibbity toilet or whatever the fuck, something they make up.
Yeah.
But this is actually relating to something that happened in, not even pop culture, but real life, like true crime, but takes things by storm. What was that? Was there a saying for what's her name? The pretty girl who shot her boyfriend in the shower?
Oh, I don't know, but you know what I was thinking of?
Oh.
Was OJ, when people say if the shoe fits, for a while they were saying if the glove fits.
Yes, like that too. Another thing, like a slang term word. Well, I looked it up and I was like, what's something relating to that? Because I was like, I wonder if there's any more. Well, I actually stumbled upon this one because I was like, I wonder if there's like ones from across like out of the U.S.? Like, do people
Across
do that
the
over
pond,
across the pond?
He loves saying that.
Across the pond, or like on the other side or the other continent, right?
Yeah.
Is it a continent? The other landmass with those people that stink. I'm sorry.
Don't listen to him. Y'all smell beautiful.
Hey, if, like, I'm sure none of y'all want to, like, rail me now, but if any European wants to come over here and tear this, just let me know. But not in, like, a murder form. If you, we will call the police. Okay, we will call our 911, or, what is theirs over there? The 999, whatever.
Yeah, it's something.
Anyways, so I was like, is there a European slang for, like, Bobby your ass, but European style? And this was an interesting one. They have a saying. It's Sweet Fanny Adams.
Sweet Fanny Adams.
Mm-hmm. But I'm assuming it would be like Sweet Fanny Adams. Kind of like a defeated term.
Okay.
Or I guess what it's what it's trickled down to from its originality and what it's used for today. But, well, it's actually interesting, but also grim, unfortunately.
Is it still used today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think it's actually, I don't know if it's like grand, but I think maybe like our age still uses it, but I don't know if like millennials still use it.
Probably not.
But, yeah. It's a grim sort of thing, unfortunately. But not to sound too sensitive to some people, because I know you guys are out there where you're like, pussy. But, I mean, let's be honest. It's quite insensitive, and I think personally it's in bad taste. I have to say, personally, for me, you guys may have a different opinion. Even you, I'm just saying, I think it's in bad taste. But if you haven't surmised, this is a true crime case that actually inspired this quote. So, let me begin by saying, the place in which this tale takes place.
We accept.
So, this took place, and I sound so fucking gay. I look so gay with my movements. Don't you love it? Anyways, this took place in the town of Alton of Hampshire. Hampshire? In the Shire. No. Gandalf. The big eyes. Gandalf. Okay.
Thou shalt not pass. Okay, we're done.
Potatoes.
I say that all the time.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Okay. It happened in, oh my god, you guys probably already clicked off, sorry. Alton of Hampshire, New England. I'm saying Hampshire, I don't know if it's pronounced Hampshire, Worcestershire. But this town was most popular for, or is most popular, or no. Yeah, is most popular for a famous author that actually comes from there.
Ooh.
Jane Austen.
Oh, love.
I have no idea who that is. I just know the name.
What?
Did she write anything special?
Pride and Prejudice.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't read, guys, so don't come for me. But, like, I don't read like that. I'm like, oh my god, I love an author. Well, except Terry Goodkind. He's not that great.
I saw the movies.
But, I mean, you basically saw the books on camera. Oh my god. But, well, we have somebody who knows. Jane Austen. If you guys know, she's actually from this town. I don't know if she lives there. I didn't really care that much to look her up, as rude as that sounds, but I'm sorry. She's not the focal point, but this town was famous for one specific resident, aside from the case I'm covering, Jane Austen.
Just sharing a fun fact.
Fun fact, you guys. But yeah. Well, on Saturday, 24th August, 1867. So we're going back to the Wayback Machine. To the Victorian Age. Well, few people who use the expression Sweet Fanny Adams know of its origin. However, well, except for some podcaster listeners, y'all may have heard this story. I personally have not seen a podcast personally cover this that I've, like the popular ones, I haven't heard them cover the story. Or maybe they have, but I haven't ran across it yet. So I don't know. So I'm hoping this might be a good one.
I'm always hoping that, and then you tell me that someone's covered something I talked about.
Watch this next week. I'm going to be like, God damn it, I'm like 4 years late. Or technically, I'm like, what? When was 1867? Like 200 years late? 200 plus years? Goddamn. In the Victorian age, it would have been noticed, except today most people might not know of its origin or whatever. So if you were in the Victorian age or around that time, you obviously would have known, oh, that comes from that. Well, however, today, as part of their lexicon or their vocabulary, not many people remember or know of its origins. But let us begin. Nothing much ever happened in this rural Hampshire, god damn it, it's gonna fuck me up, Hampshire community of Alton. Certainly none of the inhabitants could recall a local murder during this lifetime. So, Harriet Adams, a mother of 2 children, probably thought it was quite safe for children to wander off alone to a local area called the Flood Meadows.
Flood Meadows.
It was just about 400 yards from their home, which their home was located on Tan House Lane. Well, it's a Victorian age. Not many people are gonna be like, oh my god, watch out, because social media is not around to be like, watch out for a serial killer or something of the sort. Because I mean, that's not something that they thought of. But I'm sure that was aware. But she was like, bye kitties, go have fun while mama cleans up y'all's shit.
Back then they would have to wait for like word of mouth or some kind of poster thing being put up.
Oh yeah, like a community board or something.
Yeah.
Or like didn't they have it back in the age where they have people like telling the news, local man murdered down in town hall, get your newspaper, read all about it, 10 or half a pence or something.
Are those in the 1900s though?
I mean,
when was the newspaper made?
A long time ago. They've had newspapers for years, like centuries.
Oh yeah, because even back then when like Franklin and shit was here.
Hell, in Egypt they used to pass out tablets. Like stone tablets. Not tablets. Come on, Christina.
Here, I have some news for you. Give me this tablet. It has pictures on it.
We've gone back to the tablet, you guys. We're going back in time. Everything comes around.
History repeats itself, okay, guys?
We've gone back to the Egyptian times.
And we're talking in emojis. So.
I mean, hey guys, everything comes back around. Anyways, we got back to the same. Well, Fanny Adams, and her friend, Minnie Warner. Both girls were 8 years old. Both girls went to go off and play at Flood Meadows, but they set off up the lane with Fanny's little sister, Lizzie. Lizzie was only 7 years old. So you got 2 8-year-olds and a 7-year-old. Just little kids. I mean, could you imagine running off at that age to go play 400 yards away from your home? Yeah, probably. I could, because we all lived out in the boondies.
Yeah, I didn't, but me and my sister would always run down to the cornfield that was down the end of our street or behind our house. There was a railroad, which we probably shouldn't have been playing around, but whatever.
Hello, fried green tomatoes. My gosh. Have you seen that movie? Mm-hmm. Mom, I lost my leg. Oh my gosh.
Play tomorrow and lose the other.
Basically. Well, don't get so close again. Just put some mud on it.
Put some dirt on it.
Walk it off. How?
Hop it off.
Just go roll. Okay. Okay. They went off to play at Flood Meadows. 2 8-year-olds and a 7-year-old. Well, on their way there to the Flood Meadows to go play, they ran into a person, or they saw someone, and this person was approaching them. They ran into a man dressed in a black frock coat, light waistcoat, and trousers. Aside from him looking quite genteel or like cleaned up, whatever citizen, an upstanding citizen of the community or something of the sort, he looked clean and whatever.
Altogether.
However, the girls did notice that he might be a little drunk because he was acting all, like a drunk person acts. Approached the girls, and he was like, "Hi, girls, how's it going?" Or just talking to the girls and whatnot. Well, as he was talking with them, he actually offered Minnie, Fanny's friend, some money. He's offered her 3 halfpence. A halfpence in today's money, what is it? Adjusted for inflation, today is about 0.5 cents in American money.
Oh, so 15 cents?
No, 0.5 cents today.
0.5 cents. Oh, okay, so 2 cents.
Not even that, like 0.5 of our cent.
Oh.
So like back then, shit was cheap. Can we go back there? Anyways, so he gave her about 15 cents. So no about that time frame. Anyways, no, yeah, 5 cents, I guess. 0.5 cents, so 5 cents. Yeah, maybe. You're right. Anyways, 0.05 cents. Guys, don't listen to me, I'm drunk.
On water.
I'm a respectable citizen. Well, he offered them 3 halfpence, specifically Minnie, to go off and spend time with Lizzie, or specifically to go to the shops to go buy sweets. He's like, here's these halfpence, go get you some candy. However, to Fanny, he offered her a halfpenny. He offered her a halfpenny if she alone would accompany him up to the Hollow, an old road leading to the nearby village of Sheldon. So Alton is like here, and then there's like this old dirt road that leads to Sheldon, another town next to it. But not many people use this old dirt road. There's like a main road that people use to get to Sheldon. But he offered her money.
So it's like a back alley type thing.
Road. And she was a little worried of it. She was like, And the other 2 little girls, they were like, okay, thank you for the candy, sir. We're going to go off and go get our candy. So they started going off a little. And Fanny was talking to him, but she still took the money. She was like, okay. But then he's like, come on, let's go. And she was like, no, I don't want to go. She's like, no, sir, no, I'm sorry, sir. Or like, she's probably just like, no, thank you, sir. But she still took the money. But she refused to go with him, whereupon he picked her up, like he just grabbed her, and he carried her into a nearby hop field. Hop fields are these plants that grow up these poles that they have, and these plants are used to make for brewing. They use it for brewing beers, so apparently this town was big on beer. So this plant was used.
He's drunk in probably the middle of the day.
So he took her and he ran off into the hop fields, and I guess the other girls had already taken off or started walking away, so they didn't necessarily see where he went, but they might have seen him grab her, but they were like, okay. Kids. Fucking kids. Well, anyways, he picked her up, carried her off into the nearby hop field, out of sight and of the other children. At that time, it was about 1:30 p.m. At about 5 o'clock, having played together since Fanny's abduction, or since she disappeared, I guess the other girls went playing, they got their candy and whatnot, and they were just chilling. 5 o'clock rolls by. Minnie Warner and Lizzie Adams made their way home. Seeing them return, a neighbor, Miss Gardner, asked, hey, where's Fanny? Where's the other girl you were with? Oh. And then they told her what happened. This man gave us some money to go get candy, but he gave Fanny some extra money himself, or some separate money, if she would stay there and talk with him, or something of the sort. We don't know. We went to go get candy. Well, this neighbor was like, red flag the fuck. So then she ran over to Mrs. Adams, and she told her what had happened. Well, the 2 women got together, and they went up to where the area they were supposed to go, Flood Meadows, up the lane. Well, the anxious women hurried up the lane, and they actually ran into this man, coming from the direction of the Hollow. Miss Gardner accosted him. What have you done with that child? Nothing. Maintaining his composure, he replied to her, and he answered her ongoing questions that he had. Yes, he had given them money, but only to buy sweets, which he often did or gave to children to do. And Fanny was unharmed the last time he had seen her and gave her money, and she had left to go and join the other girls. Well, his air of respectability impressed the ladies, supposedly. They were like, well, I mean, okay, I guess he seems an upstanding citizen of that regard. So they were like, he's dressed nice, he's answering my questions, he's not running away, so they let him go. Well, um, they asked him before he left, they're like, or he told them what he did for his work. He's like, I'm a respectable citizen. Simply a solicitor. I'm a solicitor for Williams, I work as a clerk for the local solicitor, William Clement. And they were like, well, he's got a job, he looks respectable, so they let him go. Well, he left. However, at about 7 o'clock, Fanny had not returned yet. Well, worried neighbors had formed a search party. So then they were all like, okay, homegirl, she's not coming home. We need to find her. Let's go over. Maybe she got hurt. Maybe we need to go find her. So they spread out into droves and went looking in the area. Well, little Fanny was found. Trigger warning. Dreadfully mutilated. Her remains were found in the hop field. According to reports, it was a sickening scene of carnage. So if you guys don't want to hear anything, fast forward maybe like 2-3 minutes. 2 minutes, about 2 minutes, I would say. Okay. They found the child's severed head laying on two poles. Hot poles, which are the poles that those things were going on. They found it on top of those poles. There were deep slashes found from, or a deep slash found from her mouth to her ear and across the left temple. Her right ear had been cut off, and most horribly, both of her eyes were missing. Nearby laid a leg and a thigh. Eventually, a wider search revealed her dismembered torso. The entire contents of her chest cavity and pelvis had been torn out and scattered, with some internal organs even further slashed or mutilated. So savage was the butchery that other parts of her body were recovered only after extensive searches over the next few days. Her eyes had been found in the river way. So, like, there's a river nearby, and they found her eyes in the little shallow parts of the water.
Like the creek.
Well, initially when they found her body and her head, the mother had heard of this because she was part of that search party. She lost it, obviously. But instead of collapsing there, she went running. She ran to tell her husband, who was playing cricket on the butts of south of the town, which was interesting. So she runs to go tell her husband this. She runs and she runs and she runs and she makes it to him. She tells him everything, and then right when she finishes telling him, she collapses from exhaustion, from grief, just everything finally hitting her like a fucking Mack truck. He gets angry, as you would expect someone to. Well, his name was George, the husband. George Adams reacted to the news as you would expect someone to. He books it home. He runs home and he grabs his shotgun. He grabs his shotgun and he is intent on setting out to the hop fields in search of the murderer. However, fortunately, for both parties and both sides, his neighbors disarmed him and calmed him down to, like, let's just find this person first. And, well, later that evening, Superintendent William Cheney had actually arrested the obvious suspect because the girls were like, well, we talked to a certain man. And they were like, well, clearly this guy, let's go to this suspect.
Yeah,
he was the last person who saw her, last girl that the little girl saw him with. And they were like, well, we saw him grab her. And he's like, I didn't, I let her go. And they're like, why would the girl say that then? So they went to go and confront him, and they actually arrested him. At the solicitor's office in Alton High Street. And this was his response. I know nothing about it.
About what?
And this suspect's name was Frederick Baker. He was 29 years old. In the first of many proclamations, protestations that he said, his things was mostly like, I'm innocent, I know nothing about it, I don't know what's going on. Well, before Cheney, the superintendent, he escorted him through an angry crowd of Alton to the police station. Escorted him out. Well, people were mad, they were trying to grab at him, and they were like pushing him through. And on his body, the wristbands of his shirt had blood spatter on it. Tiny little blood spatter on it. His boots and socks and trouser bottoms were drenched. They were wet. And then he responded, "That won't hang me, will it?" He said nonchalantly. Like, he's like, "That won't hang me, will it?" Are you fucking joking me? No. We're just gonna take it to dry cleaning. Well, explaining that it was his habit to step into water when out walking upon the city. I'm like, okay, but the blood spatter, sir. And he couldn't explain it.
I'm surprised he didn't say he had a nosebleed or something.
Well, more evidence accused against him, or that they had found. They found 2 small knives. One of them was stained with blood. Well, they locked him away, and Superintendent Cheney had actually checked on his movements of that day. Witnesses confirmed that he had left the solicitor's office shortly after about 1 p.m. and that he had returned at around 3:25 p.m. And then he went out again at around 5:30 p.m. And Mrs. Gardner and Miss Adams had seen him coming from the direction of the hop field sometime after 5 p.m. Oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry. He returning at 3:25 p.m. and he went out again, and he didn't return until 5:30 p.m. My bad, I got that mixed up. He returned at 3:25, and then he went out again. So that's what I messed up. Sorry. Mrs. Gardner and Mrs. Adams had seen him coming from the direction of the hop field sometimes after 5 p.m. It seems as if likely that he had murdered Fanny Adams during his first absence, and that he had returned to commit further depredation on his victim's body the second time he went out. So
that's what I was thinking.
Dog always returns to its vomit, as Queenie says on American Horror Story Coven. Baker's fellow clerk, Maurice Biddle, spoke of seeing him in the office at about 6 that evening, when he had described his meeting with Miss Adams and Miss Gardner, or when he ran into the ladies. To Baker, to Mr. Biddle, Baker had seemed disturbed. And this is his response to the whole event of him being asked those questions of those ladies. "It will be very awkward for me if the child is murdered." He told Biddle that specifically, and then they went over to the Swan for a drink because he seemed so distraught. So they went to get a drink, and Baker had told Biddle that while they were drinking, he's like, I might have to leave town if this comes to light, or they accuse me of something of the sort. To his colleagues' observations that it would seem quite difficult if you leave town to find work. I mean, you're just up and leaving. What will you do? And then Frederick Baker responded to Biddle to that, saying he made a specific, I guess you could say, coincidental reply. "I could go as a butcher in finding a new job." Well, that following Monday, while searching Baker's office desk, Cheney had found his diary. It contained a damning entry which the suspect omitted, writing shortly before his arrest, 24th August, Saturday. "Killed a young girl. It was fine and hot." At his trial, Baker maintained that this entry written was when he was in a drunken stupor. He simply meant that he was aware a girl had been murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Well, meanwhile, a local painter, William Walker, had found a large stone in the hop fields with blood and long hair and a small piece of flesh adhering to it. This pronounced by Dr. Louis Leslie that the Alton Divisional Police Surgeon, that this was probably the murder weapon, his initial weapon that just took her out that way. His post-mortem finding was that the death had been caused by a crushing blow to Fanny's head. Tuesday evening, upon the inquest before Deputy County Coroner Robert Harfield at the Duke's Head Inn, after viewing the gruesome remains, hearing the evidence, and the handcuffed prisoner's reply, those things together, when the coroner asked if he wished to say anything, he responded, "No, sir. Only that I am innocent." The jury returned a verdict. Willful murder against Frederick Baker for killing and slaying Fanny Adams. He was remanded to Winchester Prison to await the formal committal hearing. This was held around the Alton Town Hall on Thursday of August 29th before the local magistrates. However, still protesting his innocence, the prisoner was committed for trial at the next county assizes. A large crowd awaited his removal from Town Hall, and the police were only able to protect him from the violence of the mob with great difficulty. Because I'm sure these people were pissed. Because, I mean, you're talking about a mob finding this, so everybody saw this shit. And word spreads fast. Well, I would have let the people have him, honestly.
Me too.
But the defense case had actually decided, like the defense of Frederick Baker, had centered on his mental state. A sad tale of hereditary insanity. That his father had shown an inclination to assault, even to kill, possibly his children. And that a cousin of his had been in asylums 4 times. He had brain fever, or a brain fever had even caused his sister's death, and that he had attempted suicide after an abortive love affair. Apparently unimpressed, the jury rejected Mr. Justice Miller's judicial advice that they might consider the prisoner irresponsible for his actions through insanity, possibly the inevitable verdict today. So he's like, you really think I'm supposed to believe this bumfuck is really insane? Okay. Well, after retiring for only 15 minutes, mulling over the evidence and deciding, the jury was like, guilty. Guilty.
They probably went into that thing thinking guilty, and they're like, let's just eat real quick.
They're like,
and then let's
like, what is it? Let's have a spot of tea first. Guilty, right? Yes.
Yeah, guilty all around. Okay.
Guilty. Yeah, that's literally what they probably did. Would you say that's the fastest verdict?
I was thinking that, but I think there might have been faster. I'm kind of curious and want to look this up.
Honestly, I feel like that might have been the longest verdict for that time frame, considering how quick people are quick to demonize anything or like
maybe
push for something of that regard for a guilty verdict. Well, upon this verdict, Frederick Baker was hanged before a crowd of over 5,000 on-set viewers or people, a large proportion of whom consisted of women, in front of Winchester's County Prison at 8 a.m. on Christmas Eve of 1867.
Damn.
Well, following the execution, it became known that Baker had written to the parents of the murdered child to express his deep sorrow over the crime that he had committed in an unguarded hour and not with malice aforethought. So basically, he's like, I didn't mean to do it. Like, I didn't intend to kill her. And this is what he also said. He earnestly sought their forgiveness, adding that he was enraged at her crying, but it was done without any pain or struggle. Like, what? She gonna lay there and not fight back? Like, she's like, okay, now do it. Like, come on. Suck my fucking left toe, you dumb fuck.
Honestly, I'm surprised the dad didn't shoot him.
Thank you.
At any point.
Or, like, strangle that punk. Oh my god. Well, anyways. The prisoner had denied most emphatically that he had violated the child or that he had attempted to do so. So he didn't assault her sexually. How would we know? You ripped everything out. You
I feel like he
her.
did, or he was trying to, and she put up a fight and he hit her. And then he probably
Freaked.
still did it and then murdered her. Because that's a long time for, what was that, 3 hours almost? And then you come back.
1:30.
1:30 to 3 something. So it's like 2.5-ish.
And then
he came back.
So then he killed her, probably like, let's be honest, molested her, corpse, left, and then came back, probably molested her again, and then mutilated the remains, and then, well, Fanny's headstone is erected by public subscription in 1874 and renovated a few years ago, and it still stands in the town cemetery on the old Ottenham Road. You might want to look at it if you want to. It might have been our only reminder of the tragic affair had it not been for the macabre humor of British sailors. So this is where the slang term Sweet Fanny Adams comes from. They were served tins of mutton, and this was brought to them as the latest shipboard convenience food in 1869. They gloomily declared that the contents of the cans must be the butchered remains of Sweet Fanny Adams. Gradually accepted throughout the armed services as a euphemism for, canned meat. Anything that's like, of any, I guess you could say nothing like grand or fancy or something. Like just
Spam?
Like, kind of like that. Or like, just like the bits of meat served in a can that aren't like anything grade A meat or something fresh. They were like anything worthless of that regard. Well.
That is so fucked up.
So, by the mid-20th century, Sweet Fanny Adams had become a common minced oath or euphemistic alternative for the phrase. So, like, how I guess they would say it, another saying of is, or another, I guess you could relate it to, is sweet fuck all. Kind of like, sweet fuck all. It's kind of like, Sweet Fanny Adams. Like, kind of like that. It's how they would say it, or how, in that lexicon way of saying it. That's how they regarded this phrase from. Now, am I being too sensitive and thinking that this usage of this poor girl for the butt end of a joke is in bad taste for some slang? About bad meat, scrap, something worthless?
Yeah, no,
or
that's
am I
fucked
wrong?
up. That's fucked up.
Like, how do you... I get it, you can have macabre humor, but this is something that happened, and it's recent, 1869, and this fucking case happened in, what, 1867? 2 years later?
No, that's fucked up.
So, I'm not, like, trying to talk shit on people's culture, things you do and whatnot, but personally for me, that's quite...
And it was a little girl.
That's fucked up. This is somebody who was literally just going to go play. And their body was violated, dismembered, and used for someone else's... I don't even know.
Pleasure and play.
And disregarded in the end. Thrown apart a powder field. Her head was mounted. Her eyes were thrown in the river. Like, are you fucking joking me? But it's just a slang term. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. No. Maybe you guys think something else, but I personally think this is quite fucked up. And I'm like, wow. I thought we were fucked up in our day and age of our jokes and whatnot, but no. I don't think we are this bad.
This was terrible.
Well, anyways, that was my slang term true crime story.
Question, what's this for?
Those are the hop fields.
Oh.
If you guys want to see, those are the hop fields of what they look like and how they grow, and those poles are what they found her head on. But I think it might have been a short one or something of the sort.
It has to be, because that's tall.
Mm-hmm.
People would have seen her. And she was on 2 of them, so...
They must have been, like, side by side,
a baby
or smaller
one
or something of the sort. But yeah. There are pictures, like little newspaper clippings of how she looks. Yeah. Of how it was.
That is fucked up.
I'll put it here if you guys want to see this clipping of the artwork. And then So yeah, this is Sweet Fanny Adams if you guys want to see a picture of it. And then that was her, I think, at 5 years old or something like that.
Yeah, she looks 5 there.
And then those are the 2 little girls right here next to her gravestone. That was her sister Lizzie and Minnie Warner next to her gravestone. That is so fucking grim, dude. But yeah, Sweet Fanny Adams has become a slang term, reduced to a slang term, even though she was brutally butchered. Maybe call me a snowflake if you must, but I feel that that's just really
No,
fucked
it's
up.
messed up.
It hurts my heart knowing that a child had to go through that, and then y'all made a joke out of it because you didn't like the meat. Like, how do you even come up to that realization? Y'all gonna be like, damn, this is a can of dog shit. Not, this is a mutilated butcher child. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. Anyways, you guys.
That is messed up.
Really stop.
Well, thank you for that.
Christina, now it's your turn.
Thank you for that negativity.
Seduce me with your tale.
Oh, I don't know how much seducing I'm going to be doing with this tale, but okay. Here you go. So, as y'all know, we decided to do sort of switching roles. So Steph and I will be doing... Steph will be doing the true crime like he did today, and I, good luck to me, will be doing paranormal and the strange.
I'm excited.
For my first one, I'm choosing something strange because I'm not really comfortable with the paranormal yet. I don't really know how to tell, I don't know how to go about it. But I do love creatures, so here we go. For my first one, I chose something strange, and I like fairies, but I didn't want to just cover fairies. I don't know yet, because I need to actually do my ancestry DNA. But I do have the package, and I just need to spit in it. But I think I have Irish in me, per family members telling me so. A little bit of that Irish.
Fight for my freedom. Oh, wait, is that Irish?
I fight for my own hand. That's Scottish.
Oh, my bad. Y'all are practically cousins. Get over it. Anyways.
So I wanted to cover an Irish mythology similar to the Banshee one that I did. I wanted to talk about a certain fairy, and today it will be changelings. So changeling... That's the sound that they make, by the way. I'm a changeling.
Okay.
So changelings aren't quite as sinister as the Banshee, but are another creature of an ill omen. Because if you remember, Banshees were a sign of ill omen for some lore. I don't know. I've talked about them. I can't remember the episode right now. I really should have wrote what it was. We're really bad about that. We should do better about that. If we're going to reference back something.
Honestly, I was going to when I was first doing my thing, but I completely forgot. My bad.
So most people, when you mention fairies, they imagine like Tinkerbell, a cute little fairy with cute wings and a cute dress.
You know what I think of? Hellboy 2, the Golden Army, the little teeth chatterers that eat bones and stuff like that. I think of those fairies. Or I think of Pan's Labyrinth.
Ooh, yeah.
And then with Changeling, I think of Supernatural.
Yeah. Well, our listeners know better since we have talked about a tooth fairy before.
Oh, yes. Well, have we?
Yeah, you did. You covered a tooth fairy.
Well, I covered a bunch of tooth mice.
Well, yeah, but tooth fairies. You talked about tooth fairies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then, of course, I did the Banshee, which she's a fairy. Or she's in
She's
that
technically
realm.
a fairy, yeah. The Fae.
She's in the Fae. So, changelings are fairies who have been left in place of a human child or baby that has been stolen by the fairies. The child was taken for one of 3 reasons: to act as a servant for the fairies, to receive love from a human child, or love of a human child, or for malice revenge.
Ooh. Kind of. Oh, so could this... Well, I'll let you continue.
What?
I was going to say, could this have been like a bargain of some sort? Like if somebody you can have my neighbor's child I give you permission or something like
Oh,
that.
kind of like
Kind of like a
what
demon deal or something of the sort that you see
what
in
was
Hollywood.
that fairy tale of
Oh, like Rumpelstiltskin.
yeah,
Like kind of like that. Do you think it's kind of like that, or
probably, or um maybe a human like fucked up a fairy circle and they took they
I
took the
mean, let's be
child.
honest. They're like, hey, you fucked up my house. I get your child.
I'm taking your child. But most of the time, the exchange was made with a fairy change. Like, it was occasionally an elderly fairy would be swapped, either so that it can live out its life as a comfortable care of a human. So, like for example, a fairy would go through its life until it's towards the end, and then it would switch out with an elderly woman so it can be cared for as it's dying.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've those.
So they like
That's a
go
lore
for a
too.
retirement.
Yeah, and I think that they're playing on that because of like dimension stuff like that. Back then they didn't know about that, so they probably were like, "That's not my grandma," but it is. It's just she's not present.
Oh wow, that's dark.
Yeah.
Oh.
Usually though, it was the fairest, most beautiful children who were taken because the fairies craved and admired these traits. So they would see like a beautiful like life, like the baby had the most perfect life, like they'd see it being cared for by the mom or whatever, and it's like I want that. And so just one day would just take the child and place, and then the mom would walk in and be like, "Is that my child? I don't know.
Something's a little
Something's
off about my child." Interesting.
Often a baby might become ill or take on a strange appearance, or a person might be left unable to move their limbs, or fairy struck as they called it, and the local people would begin to suspect fairy work. In medieval times, children with deformities, illnesses, or conditions that were unexplained at the time were thought to have been replaced by changelings, which is why many were abandoned or even killed. Kids back then. Like, probably children who had, like, cleft
Or a cleft palate,
yeah,
cleft lip, or like a mental
like a
problem.
deformed arm or something, when we know that it's just because they were
Something
happened in the womb,
Yeah.
but they're like fairy struck.
I don't know if you're gonna cover it, but I know I think it's Jamaica, they have their own myth of changelings.
Oh, I didn't look up Jamaica.
And because I was obsessed with fairies at one point, I know that dreadlocks, they would give kids dreadlocks because they thought that child was a changeling, so they would give him dreads so the public would know this child is a changeling. It's not my kid. I'll care for it, but it's not my kid.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's kind of like a mark of shame or something. I don't know if it's
I didn't
still
know
done
that.
today or like spoken of, or if it's just like that, but that's what I read, that it used to be that for that.
I didn't know that. I didn't look that part up. I was just kind of just sticking with the Irish lore. I didn't even think to look or like anywhere else in the world. I was just like Irish mythology. But then there were those who suspected their baby had been swapped with a changeling, who still felt as if they had to look at like after this changeling and love this changeling child. They did this for the fear that the fairies would harm their stolen child, or worse, never bring them back. So
Which
they
would
would
explain the Jamaican thing too, why they
yeah,
still.
so they would still take care of the child. Belief in changelings endured in parts of Ireland until as late as 1895. Some believe that the origin of the changelings myth stems from a very dark corner of the mind. Changeling tales illustrate an aspect of family survival in pre-industrial Europe. If a family felt unable to care for a child, particularly one who they felt would be no use to them in the future due to an undiagnosed condition or a deformity, as we talked about, it was easier for them to lose a child believing that they had been taken by a gang of fairies than it was to believe that they were going to let their child die. fucked up. Infanticide was was a horrible yet very real aspect of rural living in the medieval world. And the fact that changeling tales so often mention their ravenous appetites suggests that the parents of those unfortunate children saw them as a threat to their family's continued existence, and that allowing them to die might be the only way to save everyone else. The changeling stories just help them down this horribly inevitable path.
Wow, talk about what's the word? Not stepping up to be responsible for your own
instead
kid.
of like taking a way out, like a scapegoat. Like
there you go, scapegoat. Talk about like, or what is it? Just scapegoat. Like it's like a.
So now there was a movie by Clint Eastwood.
Yes, with Angelina Jolie.
Yes, it came out in 2008 called Changeling.
It's a good movie, guys.
It was. The film was based on actually a true story in 1928.
Ooh, true crime in the future, maybe?
Maybe. I was even thinking of talking about it because it is a true crime. I was like, oh, I can reference back to this film. So I just wanted to tell y'all a little about this film because, it does technically have to do with this. So I thought it could just kind of bridge into that true crime that I want to talk about. So the movie is about a single mother. Her name is Christine Collins, and that is the real name of the woman, who is played by Angelina Jolie. She returns from work to find her 9-year-old son Walter gone, and she calls the LAPD to initiate a search, which of course they tell her the child has to be missing for 24 hours before they can do anything, and after that 24 hours, then that's when they start their search. Well, 5 months later, a boy is found who fits the description. And they say, he's your son. To fanfare and photos, the LAPD reunite this mother and son, but she kept on insisting he is not her son. And the cops dismiss her as either a liar or hysterical. And they kind of just force her to take care of this child. Kind of like the changelings, where they would just take care of the changeling because they have fear of their son. So she probably still thought, my son's out there. They are just throwing this child at me. And
Just
remember, this is like in the 1920s. She's a single mom because I don't remember if they talk about it in the film, but I'm very aware of the crime itself and I'll talk about it. But she's a single mom because her husband's in jail and it's been a while. So it's really just her and her 9-year-old son. And she had to take a job and everything. So a lot of times he would be in the apartment alone, unfortunately. But he would stay there. So that's why it was like, I don't know where my kid went. She just came home after, work and he wasn't there. I'd be scared too. That my child was just taken. So the movie itself is really good. Again, it's based on a true story. And the crime that I want to cover that it's based off of is the Wineville chicken coop murders. And that's the crime I'm going to talk about. And I plan to bring it up later on another day because right now, I'm not doing true crime. But it's not a fairy stealing type of changeling story, but it's a changeling story in general because you're
it almost seems like
out.
It could be related to, or that could be a how do you say, a classification?
Yeah.
Rather than like it matches the folklore, so.
Yeah, there's different versions of changelings. Is pretty much what I'm trying to get at. Is it may not be, the story may not be exactly like, oh, a woman left her baby at a tree for the fairies to switch out and then took her baby, or some shit. But I digress. My sources today came from irishpost.com and then imbd.com for the movie.
IMDb.
IMDb.
What does that stand for? Anyways, not the point.
But that's all I could find. I was telling him I wish I could find an actual changeling story, but the only thing I kept thinking of was that damn movie. So I was like, I'm going to talk about the movie, but that's just because I'm a movie fanatic. And I'm too into true crime stuff, so I already knew about the chicken coop murders, but because of the movie, I went into deep dive after I saw that it was based on a true story, and I looked up Christine Collins, and I looked up her son, and I went down this whole rabbit hole as I always do.
Mm-hmm.
But I was telling him I wish I could have found an actual story about changelings, but a lot of it is just myths and stuff like that. But I should have done a more broader research.
Around the
I
world.
just did Irish lore.
Well, I
Would
wouldn't
have
even
been
have
mine.
known to go on to Jamaica. It was
Yeah.
in this book that I was reading called Fairies by some guy who's like deep searches the Fae, whatnot, and he just dropped that in there randomly. They're like, for signs that humans have ran into changelings in Jamaica, they put dreadlocks on children who they believe to have been switched out for a Fae child. And I'm like, Jamaica?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know
Well,
if it's Jamaica or was it Haiti or something of the sort? One of those
oh, maybe
two
Haiti.
islands, one of those two with like big like culture. But yeah, I was like,
I don't
that's
know
fascinating.
if there's anything that y'all find fascinating that's like a changeling lore. I would love to hear it. Because I'm not going to do any more research on it. But that's very fascinating.
So yeah, I think
But do you believe in changelings?
I feel like it was the old ways way of explaining mental disorders, or just people's way of, like you said,
Scapegoating.
scapegoating their child into not having to care for it anymore. So,
Yeah.
or
That's my belief too. I don't
or
believe
even
it's.
just society, like their community judging this family, and they're like, why does your kid look like that? And you'd just be like, well, it can't be my blood that's wrong with, or something
It's a
that's happened in my
fairy.
family. It had to have been a fairy that
She
fucked up
was
my
a
kid or something
fairy.
of the sort. And your kid's not even fucked up.
No, it's fucking
Just
normal.
natural things happen this way, unfortunately. So go pull up your chonies and get to caring for your kid, fuckers.
But I wanted to bring it up today because I do want to spearhead it into that true crime, just to get like a back lore to it, even though it's not technically a type of it, of a fairy changeling. It's still in that category, so I kind of just want to get that out of the way so I can focus on the true crime itself in the future. But yeah, I know it was kind of short, but I hope it was sweet.
Very short. Oh my god. I was like, wait, we're done? But oh my god, thank you, Christina. I knew about changelings, but I didn't know that it was, or I didn't expect it to. I mean, it makes sense. It's obvious. It's right in the face, but it's like old world parents using this as a scapegoat to get rid of their child, or not care for it, or hate their child, literally just hate their child, or explaining to popular norm why your child is not, quotation, normal. So
Or another way of expressing, especially back then in the 1800s, when witchcraft was, a thing. You don't want to be called a witch or anything like that, so you probably would just say, "That's not even my kid. It's a changeling. Don't call me a witch." Because
take the kid.
they probably were like, "Oh, you must be a witch because your kid has a deformed arm."
What did you do to your child? Why did you do this to your child? For youth, what did the devil promise you? And it's like, that's a
Changeling.
changeling. I don't know what you're talking about.
So I can see that. But anyways, I just thought it was an interesting topic.
About the Fae and
Yeah.
changelings. Very fascinating. Wow. That's dark. Very dark.
We both kind of talked about children.
Oh yeah. Except mine was abducted by a fucking perv. Or just some
Mine was abducted by fairies.
forest. The forest took my child, even though there's nothing wrong with him. No, yeah, wow. Holy shit. I mean, if you think about it, let's be honest, isn't that also makes me think of the grim fairy tales when people are like, aren't they related
Oh,
to mental disorders and stuff like that?
yes. I did want to cover that because I think that's so interesting. Because
Like Cinderella, isn't that Stockholm or something of the sort?
no, Beauty and the Beast is Stockholm syndrome.
Yes, and Cinderella is
I can't
I don't know.
remember right now.
It's something, but like, yeah, it's like not all of them, but a few of them relate to mental disorders of sort.
They also have a theory of the Winnie the Pooh characters.
Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, let's be honest. Who's Igor? Us.
Honestly.
Depression?
Depression, Tigger is ADHD. Pooh is what do you call it? Oh, obesity, like he's always eating his
Oh,
feelings and stuff.
addiction of
Yeah.
sort or something.
And then Piglet is like anxiety.
Who's Rabbit?
I don't know. I have
Just a
to
judgy bitch.
right.
Me.
And judgy bitch. The owl is a know-it-all bitch. Just kidding. So that'd be cool to talk about.
Yeah.
So then we can talk about those symptoms.
Wow, that's crazy.
Maybe we'll do that on a side thing.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But yeah. Thank you so much for your story, Christina.
Thank you for yours.
I'm excited for the next episode. I wonder
Me
what you're gonna cover.
too.
And do not be afraid to ask me for stuff if you need help. Or like little
Ditto.
like arrows, be like, which way you need to go. Be like, try that way. I will say no more. Try that way.
Well, I have a couple of ideas of what I want to talk about next. But unfortunately, they're also like creatures. But I've already chose them, and they're based on movies that I've watched.
Can I make a suggestion for you? I'll make it to you outside of the pod of this, but I'll make a suggestion for you to cover
Okay.
that I want you to recover. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your story, Christina. Did you want to tell the fans anything of any sort? Have you started your streaming yet?
No.
Have you started your socials?
No.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Oh, well.
no. She has
No,
not.
yet. No, I was working on our song.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for listening, you guys. Make sure you follow. Make sure you rate our podcast
Like,
on
subscribe.
Spotify. Leave us a review on iTunes. Follow our social medias. deeperintothedark@gmail.com. Send in your stories. Let us know how we're doing. Check out our about stories. Go to our what is it? Our internet page.
Our
actual website. That's what it's called. Our internet page.
Go to the internet. Put in deeperintothedark.com.
Yeah, we'll put it around
And
here
read
for you.
everything about me.
Yes, and it might have
And
some
then leave me a love note.
some edits that may be made. Leave me a love note. Tell me you love me. Oh, I want to hot
Say
dog
you
real
love me
bad.
again.
One, two,
We were singing that for like 20 minutes before we recorded.
At my job, they
this.
were playing fucking Tamar Braxton on the radio. Oh my god. Is it Tamar or Tony? I
don't
get their
fucking know.
names mixed up. One of the Braxtons. They was singing and they was like, it was a bop.
And it was stuck in his head.
Yeah, it was a lot for 9 o'clock in the morning. I was like, girl, chill. And I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I know.
I know, girl. It pulls out the phone. It just flashes.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Hope to see you on the next episode. And let us know what you think about this, our stories. Was her too long, too short? Was mine way too long? Not concise enough? Maybe I need to do a little work on something. Let us know. We're open to criticism, but be nice to Christina.
Be nice to him. You can give me whatever.
You can rail me if you want to rail me.
I'll just cry about it. Let us know how you like our backdrop.
Yes.
Let us know if you want a close-up of any of these photos. If you have anything that you want to send us, one day we'll have a
P.O. box.
P.O. box. And we'll put your shit up here.
But yeah, go to our Patreon if you want to check out our stuff and whatnot. We're going to start uploading stuff pretty soon, hopefully. Do we have stuff in there? No.
Right now, it's just the Between the Darkness episodes 1 through 7.
Which are free still on Spotify.
Yeah.
So
Which we will have to...
possibly. No, we told them. So we'll leave those up on there.
Well, once we make the tiers, it's money only. There's no free.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's money right now, right? You have to pay?
No, I haven't set it up yet because
okay.
we haven't put any
Well,
content in
when
there.
that
But we
comes
want
out,
to.
And we have content that will become available to you guys. So if y'all are listening to this when after a later date and it's open, check it out. Please contribute to our Patreon and check out our content because we love you guys and we hope to do this for much longer. And yeah, if y'all guys want to send a message our way, let us know. Send us your stories.
if you want our Cash App and our Venmo, let us know.
If you want to send us your naughty photos of ghosts, let us know. All right.
Also, I'm single.
I'm not single, but I'm down to mingle.
To thringle.
Yeah, get some of this action. All right. Love you
my
guys.
goodness.
Take care. Have a wonderful day. And bye, guys. Love you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening.
Deeper Into the Dark is a complete indie podcast. Please rate, follow, and share so that we may continue making content.
Intro and outro music made by Aaron H. at Fiverr. Music used in the podcast by Epidemic Sound. Mixed and edited by yours truly.
Artwork by Christina Barnes.
Thank you guys. See you next time.